scenario. Okay. So before now, we have dealt with the use of the conjunction word and actually use in making simple sentence to complex sentence. The conjunction words are and or, and so we can actually use these conjunctions in our logical expression. And of course, we all know that logical expression basically returns true or false. All right, so today we're going to be looking at this simple information, after which we will talk about how we can achieve whatever goals that we've set to achieve using the nested ifs and the if expression to uh, get the work done. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, again, thank you for coming here. So here we are presented with a data set of students, probably in senior secondary school, that has actually registered for these subjects. Okay, so you can set under the subject name, student name, and the subject being offered by such students is being shown. Of the subjects, we have, sorry, for each of the subjects that is being enrolled by the students, we have what the scores were for the first term, the second term, and the third term. And now, based on some criteria that is actually being defined by the school administration, we want to be able to tell for the students per each subject whether the students has actually, succeeded for such term or failed the subjects for that term. Okay, so you could see to my right side with the criteria being carefully defined. All right, so now the pass mark for English says that anytime the student scores average of 70, the student is said to have passed the English subject, right? I'm sorry. Somebody is asking for the student is said to have passed the subject. So if the subject is mathematics, right, and the student managed to score average of 70 marks, and of course the student is said to have passed the subject. Otherwise, so if it is less than 70, you know that the students actually failed the subject. So for physics, physics is a very tough subject. The school um, ownership is actually being considerate enough to put the pass mark for physics, chemistry, and biology to be 65. Any student that is scoring 65 above has actually passed the subject. So for other subjects, if the student is scoring 60 above, then the student has passed. Otherwise, the student has actually failed the subject. Okay, so for this kind of scenario, you are expected to return either the student pass or the student repeat. So these are the two outcomes that would actually be returned by this evaluation. So it's either the student pass the course or, yeah, otherwise the student would repeat the course. Okay, so this is the first leg, which we would have to deal with right now. And of course, that would eventually lead us to some other things that we'll be introduced to. Okay, I want us to quickly pay attention to this because this also will serve as the one more like a revision of to what we have been doing over time, and of course, would also sharpen our mind as a data analyst to be able to solve practical problems, right? So you see yourself being invited by a school, and instead of the teacher doing the manual work, you just want to use a simple logic like this to evaluate the output. Okay, so quickly, let us analyze the logic. The subjects that are actually in focus are English. We have a logical condition for English, right? We have a logical condition for English, one. We have for mathematics. We have for physics. We have for chemistry. We have for biology. And of course, the other categories evaluated to the other subjects. Kindly reach your mind. Thank you. All right. So if you are following with me, you would know that to attempt this, since we have different criteria here that we really want to evaluate, then we will be using the nested if, right? We'll be using the nested if to get this done with. All right. So the nested if is a topic that we've actually explained in the previous class. If you're just joining us, uh, do well to follow up with me so that we can perform the onboarding process proper. And I want to believe some of us have been provisioned or granted access to the platform where the resources are to catch up at your own time. All right, so the first condition, the nested if, so we all understand the concept of nested if. So there is a prerequisite to this, and this is an assumption that we're already up to that level where we can actually comprehend what we are about to do right now. So, of course, to start an Excel function, you have to start with the equal sign. So nested if, this is the first condition that we're trying to evaluate. So it's saying that if the subject is English, right? So we would have to focus on the subject column, which is B. So we will be selecting this. And of course, you know that selecting this means picking the value that is inside the cell. So we are saying if this is actually English, um, again, exactly the way the subject is being spelled. And it's not that the subject is English alone. We have another condition, and the the score, the average of the score now, right? You know, we say the average of the score that is being scored by the student for the first time, second time, and the third time, right? So first off, this is not the simple sentence logic. It's a complex one where we have to put in our hand, right? We have to put in our hand, then comma. The second one says that if the average of this, so we're going to be using the average function, aggregate function. So if the average of what we have here, so we're basically going to select this. Selecting this means picking the value within this range. You can see C2.E2, picking the value within this range, right? If the average is greater than or equals to 70. So this is the condition. If the average is greater than or equals to 70, we have to close this and comma. So if this logical expression, as you're all aware, that what we have from here to here is basically a logical expression, but it's more like a complex sentence. So if what we have here is true, then we want to say pass the course or pass the course, right? Then otherwise, I mean the other one is otherwise. We want to say repeat course. Okay, so this closes the if statements. All right, so what this means is that if we look at the average of this, how Excel allows us to select this range. So if we look at this, the average is what we have here, 64. The average is what we have here at 64. So if we look at this 64 is not a pass mark for English. So the student is actually asked to repeat the course, right? The student is actually asked to repeat the course. Now, we're going to be doing this on a course by course basis, right? And we're going to be using the nested if to achieve this, right? So this first one basically focuses on English language. This one basically focuses on English language. So we are definitely going to be doing the same thing for mathematics because I haven't gotten this down. If we click on the all true, I mean, so it's not really performing what we would want it to because the only subject that is being considered here is basically English language, and it has not taken every other subject into cognizance. So we are going to we're going to be doing this for the other subject. So where we have repeat course, I mean the value if false. Where we have this, we're going to be putting another if. So this is the idea behind nested if, right? So we're going to be putting another if in here where we have the value if false. Okay, so for this again, we are basically considering other subjects, now mathematics. So to do this, we're going to be using the and, right? So it says if the subject here, so we're picking the cell here, the value of the cell, if the subject is mathematics, then comma, right? So the second condition is that the average is also I can type the average out and say since the range is between C2 to E2, I can easily type that out to C2 um, this E2, right? So that is me picking the range from E2 to C2, basically what we have here, right? And I'm going to close this bracket. This closes the average function, and of course close this bracket. This one closes the and, right? I haven't done that. I'm going to put in my comma. So value if it is true, I want to say so this would actually be the one to look out for where the subject is mathematics and the average. Oh, we missed out something. So the average is greater than or equals to 70. We have to put this also, right? So comma, what is the value if it is true? Then if this is true, we want to say past course. Then otherwise we want to say repeat course. Okay, so I guess I need one more closing brackets to close the so this